So I'm going to break down what happened just now to give some of you an idea of what that was like for me. So when the frequencies changed in Focus 12 from 10 to 12, I actually forgot to voice the intention. So I was already in 12, and then I said I had the intention I connect with my higher self and had the intention of just turning over the experience to guidance. And nothing happened for a few minutes, just deeply relaxing, and then I phased out a little bit. It's kind of like having a mini dream for a few seconds of being in this very elaborate deck of a spacecraft or something. And then phase back to my body more, but I just let the experience continue in the form of mental images. And I think, yeah, I appeared with a guide that usually appears in some of these sessions and said, "What do I need to know?" And I got images of my feet being on fire. So some kind of purification happening at the feet. And it reminded me that many of my OBEs were triggered by energy work on the feet. Like I would imagine, I learned this from Robert Bruce, uh, tactile image awareness imaging, not sure the actual name, but basically you would just imagine and feel that a brush was moving up and down on your foot and on your hands, and you would use that to stimulate all the energy centers. The reason that kids are able to have OBEs more readily and uh, they're more able to do so than adults is because their energy bodies are more flexible. So you get a standard 40-year-old male and you tell him to do energy work, he probably won't feel anything. But if you ask a kid to start to stimulate their energy centers using these imaging techniques or these tactile techniques where you're feeling the energy moving or you're imagining a brush moving along the center, they get stimulation immediately. I tried it on some kids at the school I used to work at, and I said, yeah, just feel that a brush is moving against your hand, and after a few minutes, like their hands are buzzing and they're like, oh, this is so weird. What's happening? So this is an example of the uh, sensitivity of the energy body in young adults and in children. So their uh, flexibility or looseness of their energy body is related to their ability to astral project very easily. So people who are able to have out of body experiences in their youth spontaneously, but then they don't train or refine that ability. By the time they're 30 or 40, they find it much harder to have an OBE. And it's because their energy body is more solid, or it's not as loose as it was when they were kids. You'll notice that when you have an out of body experience, or this has been the case for me, if you do energy work, there's more of a likelihood for experiences to occur, OBEs to occur that are direct transitions from the waking state, meaning that you didn't have to go into a lucid dream and then have an OBE from the lucid dream. You're able to have a direct, um, unbroken stream of consciousness from the waking state into the vibrational state, into the projection of the astral body. When the uh, vibrational state occurs, there's a phenomena where you're able to just slide out of the physical body. That's sliding out of the astral body, that seamlessness. I experience it more if I'm regularly doing energy work. and I have not been doing any energy work. So so this is the message, or what I perceive the message to be in Focus 12. From the When you're doing stimulation on the feet, it's like the entire foot, or both feet, are connected to all the major organs and meridians in the whole body. So all of the meridians that are throughout the entirety of the physical and etheric body, they have their termination points in the feet. So you work on the feet and the teeth as well, actually, and you stimulate different parts of the energy body. So that's what happened to me in Focus 12. And then we emerged from the meditation. I noticed that it was getting very deep. Like my body started to vibrate, so the vibrational state was beginning. Like if I had been able to relax for maybe another 20 minutes, 15 minutes, might have had an out of body experience. Like the energy body, the physical body, it starts to hum like a gentle hum, 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 hum. It's almost like, it almost feels like a engine that's starting to spin. I mean, on a plane. So yeah, I'm just explaining this so that you can, because maybe some of you or a couple of you, you're like doing this and you're like, what the heck is this? What is the point of this? Like, what is going on? Just giving you an example of how this arises or what happens to me, not so that it could condition your experience, but just so that you can get an idea of what it's like, at least when I use this particular focus level. When we emerged from the meditation and we did the higher self opening intention, when we did that, uh, as soon as I said the words, had the intention, I now connect with my higher self, that sensation and feeling of grace just like blossomed in the heart center and really just became the predominant force for the whole meditation. It was really just like an extremely pleasant experience. So, and it's very different from normal meditation. Uh, for me, I don't have a lot of bliss or, these like comfort, the sense of being supported. I mean, this is stuff that like does not happen in standard meditation for me, but it happens when I do this. So very different. So it's stuff to watch out for. When you have that intention, I connect with my higher self or higher self now. What is the immediate physiological and response that arises in your mind right after you have that intention? That might be a good indicator of what's opening up. It's also possible that you're doing all of this and nothing is happening, like at all. And that's normal. During the last OBE season where we did this work, I think I probably did wake back to bed for like 2 weeks straight, and I didn't really have any out of body experiences until the 2 weeks had passed. So there's an initial period. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Um, Let me get back to that. Oh, there's an initial trial period, I would put it, right? You do OBE. It happens a lot with OBE and meditations. Like when you start a new meditation practice, you kind of get this like beginner's luck thing. It's like you have a really good experience at the start, and then you actually have to like work at developing it. So it takes some time. I urge all of you to be patient. If you're not feeling anything yet or noticing anything yet, just continue. Um, it helps to do the opening intention once a day. Kelvin, who's here, he has a specific technique that came to him, so he uses that. but have like a period every day where you actually dedicate that time to connecting with this higher energy field, higher self, higher mind, whatever it is you want to call it. For me, it's more like prayer, in all honesty. So for you, it may be different. Um, and it can really manifest any way. You can even design a ritual for it if you wanted to, like you light a white candle or something and dim the lights and do whatever posture comes to you or whatever comes out of that moment. You'd be surprised. You could say, what am I being guided to do in this moment? Or when you ask to have the connection deepen, you may get a mental image to do a hand posture or to just pull out a book and start writing. Sounds strange, but this is the stuff that strengthens the connection. One of the big questions is, how do I know between my conscious mind, what's coming from my conscious mind and what's coming from this higher self field? Initially, it's not discernible. You'll have to just test. And when you see that certain activities cause these feelings and energies to build, that's a sign that that's from that specific energy line. When synchronicities begin to happen or um, there's confirmations that come to you, but initially it initially it feels like you're just pretending, it's like, oh, I'm obviously just making this up. Like this is not a thing. But as you proceed and you've sensed that the connection is getting stronger and that begins to become reflected, for example, in other areas like your OBEs, your lucid dreams, or your standard meditation practice, you'll see um, the value and the importance of this. It's just at first it feels like you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's your conscious mind and what's this. It doesn't feel like it's working, but gradually you begin to listen to this inner voice more and changes begin to result. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go into this presentation. Um, it will probably go past, it'll probably be like 15 minutes. So if anyone needs to leave at 8:30, by all means, have a great night and thank you for coming to the session. Because after the presentation, I'm sure there'll be a couple questions. This is Nancy Trivolato, by the way. She's a OBE pro, wrote a book called Vibrational State and Resonance, which is like 20 so years of research into the vibrational state. That was the main thing that she studied, um, with all kinds of different scientific devices at um, their headquarters in Portugal. It's called the International Academy for Consciousness. So I highly recommend Nancy. She's a much higher level OBEer than I am. So yeah, if you want to go check out her videos, you're more than welcome to. This video was about how um like developing mastery at this specific skill, astral projection out of body, it requires certain things in her opinion. And one of them, for example, is being able to execute an exit technique. Another is being sufficiently relaxed. Another is energy work. So, all right. So tonight's teachings are primarily going to be from Master Cho Kuk Soy. He is the originator and founder of a healing modality called pranic healing. and also a meditation system called Arhatic Yoga, which is like the meditation side of pranic healing. Pranic healing is a bit like Reiki, except that the difference is that there's a removal of negative or stagnant pranas in the body that is emphasized that isn't necessarily the case in Reiki and other energy systems. Master Cho is a Chinese-born Filipino. He's half Chinese, half Filipino. He unfortunately, I think he passed away around 2012 or 2015. But he wrote many books, and he was an avid student of theosophy. So a lot of the teachings we're going to be sharing tonight come from that specific, those specific teachings. So I'll be reading a couple pages from his book, Oneness with Higher Soul. What is the meaning of soul realization? The question is simple, but cannot be answered in just one line. There are different stages of soul realization. The first stage in soul realization involves the intellectual understanding that you are the soul, a spiritual being of divine intelligence, love, and power. You are not the physical body, not the thoughts, nor the emotions, and not even the mind. The thoughts and emotions are products of the soul, just as the computer is not the furniture. Just as the carpenter is not the furniture. The mind is just a subtle instrument of the soul, just as the computer is your instrument. The second stage is experiencing oneself as the soul during meditation. The yogi or meditator may experience not being able to feel the physical body as though it has disappeared. The spiritual practitioner may have an out-of-body experience, the soul occupying and manifesting in other subtle bodies of light and being able to travel at a speed faster than the speed of light. With further development, the yogi may have an experiential realization of the nature of the soul. The nature of the soul is basically that of a being of light. A yogi experiences himself as a being of light traveling in all directions throughout the physical and inner universe. The third stage in soul realization is the experience of the incarnated soul, parentheses, that is you, having union with the higher soul and realizing that there is no separation between you and your higher soul. The incarnated soul and the higher soul are actually one. The yogi also experiences oneness with other souls, not just human souls, but all other types of souls. At this level, the process of arahatship starts. In the higher level of spiritual practice, one experiences oneness with the divine spark or the Paramatma. This is called God realization. The incarnated and higher souls experience oneness with the divine spark, oneness with God, oneness with all. The yogi can literally say, I and my Father are one. He is truly a divine incarnate. Master Cho Kuk Soi. Another passage, we are all children of God. In each person, there's a divine essence or a divine spark. In Buddhism, there is a Buddha nature in each person. In the Christian religion, there is a Christ in each person. In Hinduism, there is a Jiva Atma, or an incarnated soul in each person. What is the name of this divine essence? When Moses saw the burning bush, he asked, if the people ask me, what is your name? What shall I tell them? From within the burning bush, God answered, I am that I am. Exodus 3:13 through 14. In Hebrew, this is called Ehe. In Sanskrit, this is known as Soham, or Tat Wamsami. There is also a universal or planetary I am. There is a micro I am in every person. So on this slide here, we see the physical body, the incarnated soul, or what's defined as the Holy Spirit, the Jiva Atma, the higher soul, or the I am, the divine spark, and then the supreme being,